Hi, everyone. I am Violet D'Ayala, the founder of FemCity, and today I'm actually interviewing Melissa Tossell. She's one of our FemCity Global members. She is sunshine. She is always happiness and joy, and I just love that she's a part of the FemCity Global program. I get a chance to see her pretty much every Wednesday, which is really great and wonderful. So I asked her to hop on with me today and share with us about FemCity, what she loves about FemCity and how it's helped her. So, Melissa, do you want to share anything about who you are? Maybe mention your business.
Yes, it's very funny because of why I joined FemCity. It's not a huge business decision, so I always forget to talk about it because it's not important. Uh, I am a registered interior designer and I own my own business here in Toronto, Canada. I actually do global business, so I do what you might think of as more of a design build. I do everything for you from the permits and the structural stuff to the furnishings and the accessories and the photography and everything.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. All
And
right. So go ahead.
it does tie into the FemCity.
Like
Here we
vibe.
go. At the FemCity vibe, I am an empath, so I do things very intuitively, and that connection is very important to me with my clients and what I do. So kind of ties into the heart-centered feel that Fems have.
Aw, thank you. Is it cutting up a little bit? Or is it on?
No, I paused because your video was loading for a second.
Oh, I don't know what's wrong with my computer. Yeah. Anyway, well, thank you for pausing. All right.
I
So,
know how recordings go, and I was like, if I just wait, they'll just cut that out, so it'll be fine.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, how long have you been a member of FemCity?
Um, I think since the beginning of COVID, I should have looked this up before we had the interview, but I don't remember. I think I
Okay.
was just looking at it. It's just over a year, maybe.
Okay. I think so too. I think it's relatively newer than some of the other members. And
Hmm.
um, so you joined in essence during the pandemic. How did it help your business grow during the pandemic? And my reason for asking that question is I wanted to also inspire other women to take a look at their business and to give hope to them, to inspire them, to motivate them, because a lot of times we feel like when we're in these kinds of moments, whether it's a recession or the pandemic, where we feel like our businesses can't grow or network and community can't really help us. So that's where I'm kind of asking that question to see,
Yeah.
how did it help you during the pandemic?
Um, so we'll get back to what we were discussing before. You're like, wait, we got to get this in the interview. I actually, this is one of the few things I've paid my hard-earned money for that wasn't a hard business decision. It was just, it was a decision of the heart for me. And we'll get a little bit more into the big give back to me wasn't hard money earned, but it's more of a community of women, which I've never had in my life. I've never had this kind of support from other women in such a positive way. We'll get into this more. I might make you cry. I
I
won't
think
try
so.
to, but you might. It'll be a good cry. So during COVID, one of the best things. So a little bit of history. I grew up Roman Catholic. For a while, I've shifted. We all shift since our childhood. And so my morals and principles haven't changed, but me needing to go to church has. And so my mom had an issue, and I dug, and she said it was because she wanted me to have a community. And if I can emphasize anything, especially coming from a woman's perspective, when you go through hard times, having a community of people who are actually there to support you and lift you up and make you feel better and find solutions for what you're doing, and also just be a community to help, like, yes, we've gone through this as well, is huge when you're going through a tough time, whether your business is in a slope or whether there's a global pandemic going. It was so inspirational and supportive of what other women were doing, leading as examples of how I could be pivoting my business, how I could adjust things, giving me tools to operate in a pandemic a lot easier, and just having those networking meetings to reach out, and if I was having a big problem, to bring it out there so that other women could help me solve it.
I'm writing down notes. I love that because I started FemCity because of the same reason. I had never had that community, and then I had a glimpse of it when I owned my Pilates studio in Raleigh, North Carolina. But when I moved back home to Miami, I people always ask me all the time, like, why did you start FemCity? And it was because I was craving just a home with other women who would just hold my hand and inspire me. I've always felt connected to feminine power. My Pilates business was for women only, my personal training also. And I just have always felt most at home in that space. And it makes me really smile, Melissa, when you say things like that or when I hear things like that, because that was me also. Like I didn't want, I didn't start it for any other reason at the beginning except for that. Like I was selfish and I just wanted it for myself. And then it of course kept on growing. But my initial was just that. And it wasn't really about business. I mean, I wanted it to obviously help my business, but it was really, I just needed someone to like listen to me or support me or just cheer me on and say, you can do it. Like, I believe in you. Because sometimes when we don't believe in ourselves, it just takes somebody else to say, I believe in you. And it makes a huge difference for us to keep on going and not give up.
Honestly, the energy is huge in my life, to have the energy in this space and that it doesn't fail.
Right.
So I want to take a second to applaud what you've done, which isn't the starting, and it's not the intention of when you started. It's the monumental effort of keeping it aligned to what you wanted from the beginning. I see it, and that's why I went from being a local member to a global member. You've sincerely created this supportive, uplifting community, and there's no exceptions to that. And somehow it's gotten its own life by the time I've been in it, that there just isn't room for negativity or tearing anybody down or criticizing what they're doing. As far as I'm aware, from my point of view, there might be some from the mods in the background. They might delete stuff before I see it. But almost all of the time, because the feel is there and the community is there and the supportiveness is there, it continues with its own life. And as I've seen, even like if you're not in the global meetings and you can't make it and something happened, the rest of it, we all get it. So it's still an amazing meeting and we still get to get great stuff done and talk to each other. So I want to take a second to applaud that, because that's why I support FemCity as much as I can at this point, is because of that. The principles you started have stuck through. And I know from many, many other places, there's a great place you can come from, but when it starts to get watered down as it gets bigger, I feel like this has really kept it. And that's been a huge part of why I'm here. I don't even remember how I found FemCity. Someone I was connected to, but I didn't know really well, posted something about it, and I've never seen them post about it since. And then I happened upon it, and I really loved the feel of it and the positivity and the supportive atmosphere, and like, we're only going to be supporting you and lifting you up. And if you don't mind, Violet, I'll share the reason why I joined.
Okay, I love that. You have me. I'm like holding back the tears, by the way. But go.
I have had a very trauma-filled history with other females. I started when I was a child. I moved around a lot. My dad was in the Marine Corps for 30 years, so I never got to have an experience where I grew up with the same set of girls from pre-K. So several times as I got a little bit older and, relationships with other kids get more serious, versus just the playing around with each other, I'd approach a group of girls, and immediately the leader of the group would single me out, embarrass me, make fun of me, and then I'd leave. So it happened like a couple times, and unfortunately, I learned lessons really well, and good and bad lessons really quickly. Yeah. So I just lost all my trust in other females. And because I was very introverted, I didn't learn all my social skills, which makes it easier to get female friends. So I have had a very bad relationship and a very bad viewpoint and mindset and all of this trauma around this that I have done healing in the past year or so. And I want to let you know that I've done a lot of energy healing is my modality to take care of my mental health. And the healing I got here has nothing to do with that. You guys overcame it it healed my wound with women. Before that, I only attracted women who were like tomboys about things, very straightforward. And I didn't have a holistic relationship with a lot of different kinds of women because I didn't have a lot of positive relationships to go off of. But as I joined even just the FemCity local chapter and did a few things, the positivity and the supportive atmosphere was what I really wanted from other women that I'd never gotten before in my life. And I cannot emphasize how much it's healed my wound with other women. It's completely changed how I relate to other women. And particularly being an empath, it was a huge help in my life. And as I say, I didn't join FemCity because it was a business decision. And when I went global, it should have been a business decision, but it wasn't. It was purely selfish that I wanted to be around these powerful, successful women who are lifting each other up more, because that was going to help my business in ways I knew making a hard business decision about a networking group did. And by the way, I have been in a big global paid networking group 2 different times now, and it hasn't given as much back to me as this has.
Thank you, Melissa.
My pleasure.
Your story is we have a FemCity president. I'm trying not to cry. She had a very similar story to yours, and when she shared it with us, and I'm not mentioning her name, I think she shared it publicly, but just in case. And I think that's the one thing that I've seen the most on the ground is seeing women like realize how beautiful it is when we do work together and we do fem it forward and we uplift each other, because it's we don't see it often in society. We don't see it often in TV or in media. I mean, we're starting to now, but for the longest time, one of the reasons why I don't watch TV is because I'm not a fan of watching women portrayed as knocking each other down. But that's what younger girls see, and then they act on it, and they think that's the norm. And the reality, I think, is we are so much more powerful together, but you don't know it until you feel it, because you don't know it exists until you kind of like step into that space and you calm down and you kind of just realize like, oh, this is like nothing I've ever seen before. It feels like love, and you can make a lot of money and you can make great impact and do it from a place of love and honoring other women. And if you don't believe me, that's how I created FemCity. I truly believe that. That's that sweet spot where we should all be in. My heart is like.
And I will say it's also just, it's very different because there's a lot of other modalities. There's a lot of other places where you can see it happening. Yeah. But that does nothing for you if you have trauma around wounds around other women. It doesn't help me because it feels like it's just mocking the fact that I don't have that. But FemCity offered like a free membership for a month, by the way, where I was like, you know what? I have, the only way I got to where I am right now is like a why not attitude. Yeah. Like, let's literally, what's the worst case scenario? The worst case scenario is I don't like it. I didn't pay anything for it, so it's fine. So let's check it out to see if it's actually what it says it is. And the atmosphere whenever I interacted with something was that supportive atmosphere. And the more I got into it, the more powerful it was for me to change how I experienced my relationship with other women, and being able to be in that loving, supportive atmosphere, which is more, as you've observed, because I'm in such my element and I love this place so much that it makes me so happy and excited to hear your description of me in the beginning, because I've had a lot of struggles with how I view myself. And being this colorful, creative person that you see in my office behind me wasn't always the case. And I always thought I had to take my career, which is a creative career, which sounds silly, so seriously, and that I had to be really, really straight-laced about things. And anyway, it circles back to FemCity and my experiences, that this isn't like here, watch this cool video and read this quote. It's like, come experience it. come be in this atmosphere that we've set up and engage in this atmosphere to feel that you are a part of what is going on here, not just observing the cool, positive points, as you say. And I think it's way better experience, especially for the camp you guys do for young girls that you've set up, which I think is amazing, because seeing things is one thing, but the only way you're going to help someone's self-esteem and confidence is to experience and be in it. And to create those relationships earlier before you become dumb adults and have these limiting beliefs is amazing. And we also have a lot of amazing femmes that deal in that space as well. And it's a huge topic for me, because I've struggled a lot with all of those topics, and I love seeing that positive impact.
Oh, thank you, Melissa. You're not alone. That's for sure. There's so many of us. I see so much of myself in you as you're sharing. Even the creative part where you were saying now, you think you have to look a certain part, act a certain part, and then it hinders who you are because you have all these filters that you've added in order to be more acceptable to society. And at the end of the day, it's like when you become yourself, its truest form out loud, it's like it feels so good which it could be a whole other topic.
Like, we could do a whole other thing on that. I do want to say that one of the big things, I don't know if this was as big to you, but when you went from straightening your hair to having curly hair, I don't want to say I really understood that transition, but I really did. That I know the perceptions of having curly hair, and there are a bunch of other femmes in this space that have curly hair, and the perceptions you get of not being taken seriously. And I know that's the same thing with me. Like, I thought I was going to have a virtual background, and a close friend of mine who is actually the director of my interior design association here in Ontario, so she knows a lot about this stuff, was like, no, I would want to see your office, because I was like, it's kind of messy. Like, it's not messy, it's just there's a lot of stuff because I have a small office. But she's like, no, you should see it. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I have all of this colorful, crazy stuff behind me that's not a really professional background, the plain professional background. But yeah, I felt a lot of love for that decision. Yeah.
Thank you. By the way, your background looks amazing. I thought it was one of the fake ones because it looks so cool.
Thank you. Yeah, no, this is completely real. A lot of stuff I did myself. Yeah, I love color.
Yeah, it looks so pretty with your skin color. All right, my last question is, everyone that I've spoken to has some sort of FemCity, I call them love stories, which is not because it's romantic, but it's more like when you have connected to another member and you've created a beautiful campaign or collaboration, or maybe just became best friends. Is there one story that demonstrates that for you? I mean, you've shared so much. I feel like everything you've shared has been like a love story.
Yes.
Want to add, I guess?
I really love you guys. One of the things I want to say is it hasn't been any one thing. I want to, it's very easily explained in the fact that I have someone who's been working with me for over 2 years now. It's been a very hard relationship. It's been a lot of hard work, but we're in this amazing place now. She's my right-hand woman in my business. She's Black, and I love the fact that I have someone I get to support and help steer an amazing career for that's Black. But whenever I tell her that someone's a femme, she already knows what that means. It has been that consistent. And even paradigms I had in my little brain that, society gives to you, that there are certain types of women that I felt weren't accessible to me, that wouldn't be relatable to me, that I couldn't be friends with. I have one as a client. I've met several women who are like, consistently, there's when the little, as I call it, the little gremlin in the back of your head that tells you these awful things from your old life, that eventually it just becomes this little whisper and you're like, shut up. Like, I'm not even listening to you anymore. But whenever they come up and they're like, oh, she's not going to get along with you, she's not going to like you when she realizes what she's like. That's not it, ever. Anyone who comes from any different background and walk of life, and as you know more than I do, the variety of personalities and types of femmes we have in this amazing group. It's all been universally amazing. I have one as a client that I'm helping with her renovation of one of her homes, that she came specifically through FemCity. And there wasn't the intention of doing a reno with her. I just networked with her. I let her know what I do, and she liked it. But there are so many of these stories where that is what helped change my view of women. What helped make me relax around other women is because FemCity gives you a safe space. That's what I would love anyone to get out of this, is that all of the stuff we're talking about is great, and all of these success stories are wonderful, but the best part of this is they truly give you a safe space. There's a safe space to admit that you've had a horrible relationship with most women, and there are certain types of women you felt weren't accessible to you as friends. And that cuts out so much of your life. And as you pointed out, Violet, like, basically, ladies, we have so much against us in life. Why are we against each other? We already know what we're up against. And then we have so many women, BIPOC women in our group, and women from various different amazing backgrounds. And our partnership with Hen India is another huge example of women supporting other women. That's it. Having that safe space where you can come and truly, like, how many times has somebody posted their emergency or their horrible situation, and not one person has hopped in there to tell them how stupid they were. Yeah. Everyone's popped in to be supportive, or to send love if they had no advice to help them with, or to say, hey, to bring up someone else who may not see it so that they can help give advice. That's what got me in the beginning, is just seeing stuff like that when someone had a real problem, and in every other space you would see someone tear them down, or someone tell them it was a stupid decision, or someone do something like that. But that never happens here.
Thank you. Wow, Melissa, my heart is just like, it is so full right now. Thank you so much for all that you shared. It's beyond what I expected. I didn't expect any of that.
I knew you'd be a little surprised. It's not quite the same. It hasn't like propelled my business directly, but the support I get is amazing. It gives me a lot of freedom and a lot more confidence. Like, every time I interact with any of you guys, I come away feeling like I could conquer the entire world, even if, like, I have a really stressful existence right now because my business is very busy. And I have a scrappy client that sends me a lot of last minute things he wants me to do right now, which is going to propel me to global business. However, it's not great for my confidence level some days, right? As we were discussing before, those days where it's 2:00 in the afternoon, you're like, what did I do today? But yes, I love this, and I don't have nearly the time and energy to pour as much as I would love into saying great things about FemCity to everybody. So I'm super happy this could help anyone. And as I said, especially women who felt like having a community of women around them weren't accessible to them, or that they can't find this safe space in their life. And I especially just love, I'm in Toronto, Canada. I have amazing women I really love that are all over the US and in other parts of Canada, and in some cases global. And I love that this format that we have right here, and the global membership, especially the one I have, that level, it makes all of these amazing women accessible to you, and you could literally be anywhere and enjoy that amazing relationship with other women and that support, even if you couldn't find it in your own community. It's all good stuff to me.
Thank you, Melissa. Oh my gosh. I think I'm going to have to take the rest of the day off. I'm just going to sit and just like absorb all of that. It's so beautiful.
Yay.
Yeah. Thank you so much for spending the time and sharing all of that with me. And I didn't cry, which is like, I'm such an easy crier. I was holding it together. Thank you so much, Melissa, for your time. And for those that want to connect with Melissa and learn more about her design, please reach out to her. You can find her over in our directory over on FemCity. And Melissa, I'm sending you so much love. Thank you again.
Thank you. You have a wonderful day.